Take it away, Harris.
September 27 is celebrated as World Tourism Day. However, there is a week of activities that takes place in Jamaica, and here to give us those details and an update on what's happening in our industry here in Jamaica is Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Ed Bartlett. Good morning.
Good morning,
Welcome to
Delio.
Smile Jamaica. It's morning time. Mr. Tourism Worldwide.
Mr. Tourism Worldwide just won an award. Did you another one?
Yeah.
Where do you have space for your awards? Africa Travel and Tourism Award recipient. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, it's the African tourism arrangements that operates out of Nigeria, and they have every year not just a showcase of the African cultural assets which are on parade for tourism purposes, but they also look at the diaspora, and they're trying to connect with Africans all over the world, because for them, their tourism is not just about what's happening in Africa, but what Africa has done across the world. And so they've looked across the world to find what they call 100 most influential persons in the industry and who have affected and impacted tourism on the continent. And they came across my name, it seems. And in fact, only two of us as ministers. One, the minister from Kenya, Minister Balala, and myself. So I think, in a way, it's a celebration of what the diaspora has done, and I think, in a broader way, it's a celebration of Jamaica because of how I believe we have inserted ourselves in the fabric of this great industry, which is the #1 industry in the world today. And one of the arguments of resilience which we put forward is this capacity that Jamaica has to be recognized and to be seen as a place to go with abilities to manage themselves and manage their affairs. So if something goes wrong, like Thomas Cook fallout,
Yes.
it isn't impacting us as we thought it might because people feel good about Jamaica. One, two, that the partners across the world are willing to come together with you. But thirdly is our own proactiveness, is the fact that we look at these things, sometimes we see them a little down the road, and we make what steps are necessary to deal with a broadening of our own impact and our footprint. So when something happens in one area, it is made up for by what we're doing in another area.
So it's Tourism Awareness Week. What are some of the things that will take place this week?
Well, this week has gone so far with one of the finest church services. I think we've had a Church of the Rock. It's really inspirational, and I think I want to use this moment quickly to give a shout out to Apostle Fletcher. She really presented a tremendous sermon, and I think the church was very warm, and it was a wonderful moment to express the essence of tourism, which is service, and that is also the essence of the church. It's about service, and it's about Christ's mission here to serve and not to be served. And in a big way, it is also, it gave us an opportunity to create that moment, to have that catalyst, and to also make people understand that there is a reward for service here as it is for somewhere else. And the good thing about this service here is that there's pecuniary rewards, there's actually money that gives you well-being.
Yes.
But that tourism is about service. 60% of the value of the experience of the visitor is the service.
You're very big on the human capital and human capital development.
And the theme of this week, of course, is about jobs for future. And I wanted to emphasize that because tourism is not about menial work. It's not about what some have traditionally thought, that it's low-paying, low-end. Tourism's jobs today are high-tech. They are at the highest level of technology. And we begin from aeronautics. When the plane flies, what makes the plane fly? That's where it begins, because your main mode of transportation and connectivity across borders is airlines, airplanes. So you begin there and you get right down to all the now of enormous experiences that people go for in food, in shopping, in entertainment, and in health and wellness, and in knowledge. And
But also how it has lifted ships. They say rising tides lift all ships in Jamaica through the linkages network
Yes.
and the impact it has made economically there.
absolutely.
To the lives
So,
of
so
Jamaicans.
agriculture and tourism are
Right.
peas in a pod.
Right.
So manufacturing and tourism, because you ask some of our own manufacturers here, some of their largest customers, of course, are the hotels, and they're expanding and building new factory space. And I'm not making a little plug here for anybody, but Christiana is expanding because one of the biggest customers is Iberia Staff, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, Sandals is one of the largest customers also for. So what we're saying is that the more we grow tourism, the more visitors we bring, is the greater the demand we create for a number of goods and services that must be produced here.
Yeah.
So when we talk, for example, that 120,000 people are employed directly in the tourism, there's another 200,000 outside who are employed in providing the goods and services that the
for the
industry
industry.
requires.
Yeah.
Right.
And you do, part of that is your TPD co-training program.
Yes.
So along with providing jobs, you also help to develop the capital that's going into the jobs to ensure that the quality of service in tourism is at a particular level. I know you're very, very
Strong on that.
strong on that.
Because, we develop a strategic approach. One, first of all, the policy in relation to it, the human capital development policy of the ministry, which is to build our workers to the highest level of competence, to give the best quality output, because that's the value added. That's what's going to cause us to grow. That is what's going to make us add to the GDP growth on a quarterly basis. As I must pause to say that tourism is the only industry that has positively impacted the GDP growth for the last 19 quarters.
Wow.
Wow.
Record last year?
And the last quarter we were the number one.
Yeah. Where are we now?
Contributor to
4.8 million? Is that
We're
correct?
4.5. We're going to be hopefully at the end of this year. We'll be somewhere in that region.
Fantastic.
We had a little fallout out of cruise, as you know, but that is not our doing. But hopefully, because of how the region is structured and the itineraries are created, which is not what we do. That's what the cruise lines do. They're going to reposition that as soon as there is a development in Cayman that we are all anticipating. And it is then that Falmouth will really come on strong and could have advised up to 2 million visitors a year into Falmouth alone. So we have to also take steps to prepare for that.
Okay.
But back to the point of the human capital development strategy.
We
because
actually have just about a minute,
minute.
Minister.
So that's at the
yes.
heart of this week's activities.
Yes.
Training at the basic level through Team Jamaica, that is the basic rudiments of it. Then secondly, through high schools. And we're excited about that because we've started career talks in all the schools, some 33
Nice.
schools that the JTB is going into. And these career talks are around the fact that we now have an associate degree program for high school students in hospitality
That's
management
fantastic.
and services. So next year we hope to graduate the first cohort of 650 of those. Secondly, we have the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation, that is a pathway institution for professionalization of the industry. Purpose of which is to go into the workplace and to find competent workers who are ready for promotion but are not certified.
Okay.
And so we've connected with the American Hotel and Lodging Institute and the American Culinary Foundation to provide these levels of certification, which enables them now to be mobile
Yes.
as well as portable. So you could work here in Jamaica and anywhere in the
else.
world.
That's
Global.
good. That's
We
good.
don't have any boundaries anymore,
third
so-
element quickly on it is in the tertiary schools, where beyond the graduate, the undergraduate program, we're now working with the UE to establish a graduate program in tourism. So you can have a master's and to a PhD level. We can then expand the research and development to create new products, to create new sense of what kind of business models to be part of the disruptive generation of those who are making new things happen and changing the way that we do things. And finally, to enable now a new labor market arrangement to emerge. So you are now classified because you are qualified.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can be classified. And
Yeah.
then thirdly, you can be remunerated according to
To the
classification.
classification.
Yeah.
And so to balance it all and to close the loop, you now have to develop a security for the worker, a social security, a social security net. And so we have today, the first ever in the world, tourism pension program for every single person who works in the industry, even those 200,000 that we spoke about
In the
outside.
background. Fantastic.
So we're proud of that. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet have approved, the Parliament approved, the Senate approved, the Governor General gave his assent, and yesterday Cabinet approved the Board of Trustees to review and approve the regulations to enable the promulgation, in fact, and to give essence to the pension plan. So we're excited about that prospect, and we're looking forward to the workers of the industry becoming members of this revolutionary and landmark
Yes.
social legislation
Yes.
that will give security to them after work.
That's an amazing thing. Thank you so much, Minister, for doing that and for protecting the tourism workers. I mean, that's the brunt of it. Today, you use the hashtag WTD 2019, World Tourism Day, or hashtag T8WJA 2019, Tourism Awareness Week, JA. Minister Edmund Bartlett, always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And enjoy the week. We're doing a lot of exciting things. We have a pop-up kitchen
We're coming.
and fashion show.
We're coming.
And then we're going to have a great exhibition and everything.
Everything.
Let's do it. Let's get on with it.
After the break, we find out what's happening in the UK. We'll be right back.